Don't know if you guys heard, but there's a little movie coming called Fantastic Four.
Should
It's
we
opening
sing
up.
that?
Fantastic Four. It's opening up this week. This coming week, it's opening up. And stoked for it. I've gotten more excited for it since they stopped putting out those mediocre trailers. Again, not bad, but mediocre. And started releasing some clips instead. And the clips have been getting me excited. Well, the other day, industry screenings were held for Fantastic Four. Not the primary critic screenings. The review embargo for social media reactions lifts on Monday night. And we will, I believe it's Monday night, almost positive it's Monday night. We're going to do a reaction watch that night. We're going to do reaction watch for Fantastic Four. But both Rob and I have now spoken to industry positioned people who now have seen Fantastic Four, a number of them, and some verification being given online as well. I will start, Rob.
Okie dokie.
You know me. I still know some people at AMC theaters. I worked there for many years. Have some people who watch our show regularly.
Mm-hmm.
There may be one person at AMC I don't like very much, but there are many people at AMC that I very much do. And other theater chains, by the way. So, I have heard from 2 theater execs that have seen Fantastic Four. Both of them positive. One fairly positive, one mind-blown positive. So I'll start with the mind-blown positive one. The first person I heard from basically said, and remember, I didn't have a 20-minute phone conversation. This was some quick text exchanges, so it's short and it's brief. But the very first thing I'm like, so Fantastic Four, I loved it. Talked about how he thought it was visually stunning. He said he was really blown away, particularly by The Thing. He thought Ben's character was absolutely fantastic. He said that the chemistry, the thing that I talk about on the show a lot, both of us do, Rob, about the chemistry between the characters, which is like key, rock solid, foundational to a Fantastic Four movie. He said it was off the charts. He said, I don't know that I've ever seen an MC, and he's not a major comic book movie fan, this guy. He said, I don't know that I've ever seen the chemistry of characters quite like this. He said it just really worked. It felt so natural. It felt so real. It felt so organic. You know, all those kinds of things, right? So that was the other thing he said. Chemistry, organic, fantastic, off the charts. Absolutely loved the film. Visuals he thought was really great. And he said they ultimately left the theater extremely satisfied. So that's from somebody who's not like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They appreciate some good comic book movies. They do, but they're not like the biggest comic book thing. So that was the one person, loved it, great chemistry, visual effects, blah, blah, blah. All right. The next one that I got communication with was a little bit different. They said overall good. He said, but it stopped short of being great. He specifically said that the first 30 minutes felt a little unfocused. So the first 30 minutes were a little bit unfocused. He said sometimes the movie doesn't flow quite as well as like something like a Thunderbolts did. Like a Thunderbolts had flowed so beautifully, but he said this one didn't quite flow quite as well. But at the end of the day, it's good. So from one person I talked to said, it's good. It's a pretty good movie with some caveats. Again, I didn't get into all the things that he thought could have been better. And then the other one, much more positive, like both positive, but this one much more positive. Loved it. Chemistry, visuals, blah, 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 blah. So that's the reactions I've been hearing from the insiders who have now seen the film, and it all leans pretty damn good. Some excellent, one good, but not super great. Rob, you've also spoke to people who have seen the film. What's the response you're hearing? What are the reactions you're getting from the full Fantastic Four film?
Well, a friend of mine works in exhibitions, so his job is to book theaters. So he sees everything, and they show him, he sees every single movie. He's not necessarily predisposed to liking superhero films or Marvel films, but he has very good taste in cinema, and he has a long history of working in the film business, and he really knows his stuff. And he and I seem pretty much eye to eye. So I asked him, I said, first of all, obviously, what did you think of it? He said, I really loved it. I thought it was terrific. he said some interesting things. I'm going to keep this as totally spoiler free, John. But, he said, as you might understand, the movie actually takes place over 8 years. And I won't talk about how that's parceled out.
Don't give away too much. Don't give away too much here.
No, but I thought that was interesting because we know that you find out from the trailers or the clips that she finds out she's pregnant and then Franklin Richards is born. So we knew there was at least a year. But it was really interesting to hear that. And then, the talk show that we've seen in the trailers, as you might imagine, that is near the front of the film. And he said there's things that are involved in that are really clever. That comic fans especially will really appreciate. But he said that the movie was, it was very straightforward. It's all set in that time. And he loved the fact that it was unto itself. The rest of the Marvel universe was not really a part of it. And he liked the focus of it, that you were concentrating on the Fantastic Four. You really get to know these characters. You really like these characters. And the threat was a real threat, and what was happening was really interesting and really compelling. And I'm not going to say what it was, but he told me a little bit about Galactus's motivation, and I was like, that's really interesting. Like that elevated my, he just doesn't want to eat the earth. So I'm like, okay, that's good. You're only as good as your villain. But I did ask him, I said, does Galactus have a spaceship? Is it like Jack Kirby-esque?
Don't tell us the answers. Don't tell us the answers.
Well, you kind of, if you look at the trailers, but I'm going to be very happy. But what I really liked about it was he said it was a really compelling story and that you really love the characters. And he said, unsolicited, he said to me, he said, look, I'm sick of Pedro Pascal. He's in everything. But the thing is, he's a really good actor. And he said he is Reed Richards. He really liked, and he goes, I was surprised about that as anybody. And I thought, well, that's good, because I'm still not convinced until I see it. But that's what he told me. And I'm like, okay, because I think, and he didn't say anything about, Sue Storm leads the Fantastic Four. He didn't say anything about that. And I didn't really ask him, but everything he told me made me really excited to see the film. And I trust his judgment. And, he said it was just really solid. It felt like an old school MCU movie because it wasn't servicing anything else. And he said some other things that were surprising to me, but I will keep them to myself. But I'm excited. He said it was really good.
You and I talked about this. So without revealing anything that is in them, I think we can tell people, because a lot of people ask going into these types of movies, is there a post-credit scene? How many post-credit scenes? So without going into any details of the content of them, are there post-credit scenes, and how many are there?
There's 2.
There we go. So there's 2. So now you guys know, stick around. If you're interested, stick around for those things. Now, just so you know, the Outlet Comic Book Movie has picked up on this, and they're quoting that because, Rob had posted that he talked to somebody. He put on his social media that he talked to somebody who really loved it. So the comicbookmovie.com is following up saying, so I followed up on this and I've heard back from a couple of people who have also seen the final cut of the movie. And yeah, heard pretty much the same thing as Robert Meyer Burnett. Everybody seems to really like it. Notably, even those that aren't big comic book movie fans. Now that's coming from comicbookmovie.com. So right now, the box office projections, they're saying about $110 million opening, which would be a little bit less than Superman. Now, who knows, maybe some positive word of mouth can give it a good push in the next week, and maybe it can come in over the first weekend of Superman. But this sounds, Rob, we just need Marvel with all the struggles they've had. Again, I'm not a Marvel hater. I really love Marvel, but I can love Marvel and acknowledge that over the last number of years, they've been hit and miss. They are coming off an unmitigated win with Thunderbolts that deserved to make more money. But from quality wise, it was a spectacular movie. I loved it. they need to follow up strong here, especially since I wasn't overly thrilled with Ironheart. So I really hope they can follow up strong here.
He told me something interesting that a person actually from Disney told him. And I before I say this, I want to say that, when it comes to screenings, when people make changes after test screenings are not because things necessarily are bad or there's problems, but you can look at pacing issues, like especially for comedy, you can really tell if something's working in a comedy, and you sometimes can tweak things and speed things up. But he said that this movie was test screened more than Marvel normally test screens their films, and it was shown to many different audiences because they wanted to be sure about it. And he said to me, it really felt of a piece. Like he felt that it was really satisfying, and it was really, it just felt like what they wanted to do, they accomplished. And he didn't feel that way about Captain America: Brave New World. He liked Thunderbolts a lot, but he said this movie feels like they really delivered the movie that they set out to make. And for me, that's, again, authorship. You had Matt Shackman doing it, their retro idea of making it set in this pocket or its own universe, and it's removed from our reality. He said that was a really great element of the movie, and they really nailed the whole feel of it all the way through. And that was, I think, of all the things he told me, that was the most encouraging, that it really feels like they delivered what they set out to make. And that's all I ever look for. Look, I might not necessarily like something, but if I can recognize that the filmmakers gave me what they set out to make, that's what I'm always looking for in a movie. And he said that was absolutely the case, and that a lot of it put a big smile on his face. So that was good.
Yeah. So
because he's not somebody, he's not a shill. Like he's not particularly predisposed to loving superhero movies, but he does have good taste overall. So that was interesting.
Your guy loved it. Both guys I spoke to liked it. Well, one thought it was pretty good. One thought it was absolutely fantastic. So we'll see. Now, as far as I know, I've seen some people saying different things in the live chat, but guys, as far as I understand, the social media embargo lifts on Monday at 9 p.m. Los Angeles time, or 10 p.m. Los Angeles time, 10 p.m. Los Angeles time. And then the full review embargo lifts Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. or 6 a.m. Los Angeles time. I'm hearing some people saying tonight. Some people saying it was pushed to tonight. Some people are saying that they moved it up to today. I'll keep my eyes open for that. Maybe it's because they knew these reactions from the industry screening were going to get out and talked about.
He made a good point. He also said, we kind of have this throwback Superman movie that really embraced the Silver Age, and that this kind of has that period piece. He says he thinks that both movies are going to really exist well in the marketplace together, whatever that means. But, I can see that. And it's going to be interesting I'm really looking forward to comparing and contrasting films from that perspective, and that they're both kind of relaunching their perspective or their respective franchises in a way. It's the new phase. You're going back and they're doing, this is the old, in terms of Marvel history, other than the beginning, of Captain America, the first Avenger, they're going back in time further than Captain Marvel did, and back into the 90s. You're going back into this weird 60s that never existed. I'm stoked, dude. I can't wait.
All right, guys. Question is for you. How are you feeling about it? We've gotten our first reactions from people that we can verify have actually sat down and watched Fantastic Four, and it's all positive, some more positive than others. Where's your expectations like right now for the film overall? However you guys are feeling about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.